Some guy 99. Do you think the MCU will ever be as good as it was during the Infinity Saga? I don't know. I don't know. Phase, from my personal opinion, Phase 4 is definitely lagging. It's not terrible, but it's definitely lagging behind the rest of the previous phases, in my opinion. I think a big thing is that right now Phase 4 doesn't feel like it has um, a purpose. It feels like it's afraid to have a purpose. Like it's kind of touched on what its purpose is going to be, but it's afraid to go too deep. Phase 1, we knew there was something coming, even though it was kind of more on a surprise for us when the Avengers, became a thing. We knew there was something coming with Thanos, right? Phase 1, we had a trajectory. There's different elements, different stories leading up to this thing. And Loki introduced Kang. We know that Kang is going to be a big part. We know that the future is going to be probably pretty deep when it comes to his character and what he does and all the extra stuff behind him. But there are certain elements where I just feel like I'm not as invested. With Thanos. When they introduced Thanos at the end of Avengers 1, I said, who is this guy? I cannot wait to see what he does. And the story goes on, and we found out, and it was great. But with Kang, I'm kind of just like, he seems interesting, and I want to be interested, but I just don't really care. Kang doesn't have that same effect on me like Thanos did. Like Thanos, I was like, yeah, Thanos, I cannot wait to see what's gonna happen next. And Kang, I'm just like, all right, let's see what happens. I don't know. I think they're going to be able to pull around. They got unlimited money, and they actually have some pretty good creative people behind it. I think that they're going to turn it around. I think Phase 4 is a little bit of a lull because Phase 5 and Phase 6 are going to be a lot better. There are some things in Phase 4 that are really good. No Way Home. You know what I mean? People don't like the Eternals. I actually do like the Eternals, but that's just my personal opinion. I understand the arguments. I like it. Kind of feels like a Zack Snyder film. I like Zack Snyder's. I understand his visions for stuff, so I like that. But I know a lot of people don't, so that's understandable. I'm going to finish the next two phases. I'm not quitting. I'm gonna watch them, especially with they just announced the Avengers. What is it? 5 and 6. They announced Avengers 5 and 6 effectively already. And some big stuff are going to go down in that. I'm almost certain we're going to see Venom and Spidey link up at some point. And he'll get his black suit. I don't know. All I do know is I want to see Tobey Maguire and Hugh Jackman together on screen. Don't care if it's even 5 seconds. I want to see them fighting together. My two favorite superheroes when I was a kid. Spidey, Tobey Maguire Spidey, Hugh Jackman's Wolverine. I want to see it. Give it to me, Marvel. I don't even care if it doesn't make sense. I don't even care if they're not even doing a multiverse fight, right? Let's just say they're doing a movie that has nothing to do with multiverse, and then out of nowhere, Toby and Hugh are just in the background, just fighting. It just cuts to them fighting. No multiverse, no explanation for why they're there. They're just there. I won't even care. That's what I want. Give it to me. Of course, I would prefer if it made sense. But there are some elements I would just let go, and that would be one of them. Just whatever. Let it go. I do think that this is actually a question I was asked I was 2 streams ago that I never got to. But someone asked me would I like to see DC and Marvel do a movie together, bring Superman in or bring Batman in. And I said 100%. And I'm almost certain we're going to get that eventually, even if it is just one movie. A multiverse split, one movie. Wonder Woman, Batman, Superman enter the world or something like that. I don't know when, but if I was going to guess, I would say probably around Phase 10. They're just going to do a big, why not multiverse universe. Phase 10 is probably going to be in 10 years. So Henry Cavill by that point will be a little older. But he can still play an older Superman just cause. Why not? Poor Henry Cavill. He's such a good guy. He's an awesome guy. He's like one of us. He's a nerdy dude He's like a really buff, good-looking, nerdy dude, but he deserves so much better than what WB does for him with the DC movies. That's why I think the MCU should just hire Henry Cavill. And I heard there were talks of it for him being like Captain Britain, which is cool. But I want them to bring Henry Cavill in and make him Hyperion, and then just like dunk on WB for wasting him. Like that's what it is. Because for those you don't know, in MCU, like Hyperion is like Superman. He's the MCU's Superman. Well, there's a couple different MCU Superman, but he's like, for the most part, MCU Superman. There's other ones like Sentry and Black Marvel, or Blue Marvel and Gladiator. There's other guys like that. I think Sentry's a little too powerful for the MCU, at least right now. But bring Henry Cavill in as Hyperion, and then let them do Man of Steel, but with, let them do it again, but with the Marvel's money and actually care. Oh, that'd be great. That'd be great. Let's see it. Luke Simmons. I don't think they can do Sentry, but as with all OP characters, you have to handle them properly. Exactly. See, it's very sketchy to do a character like Sentry. I think Hyperion to a point could be done, but when you do Sentry, you effectively fix any problem. It's kind of like why they don't have Captain Marvel on Earth. You can bring her in to kind of fight a little bit, and then she has to go back out into space because you can't have her on Earth, or she'd just solve every issue. Like think about this. Think about the Eternals. When Hersham comes back, and he grabs all of them, and he's like, "Oh, you guys lied to me," blah blah blah. Imagine if Captain Marvel just like showed up and just flew through his face and just killed him like that. And I don't know if she could do that, but I mean, why not? Like, why wouldn't she be able to do that? Her powers are Infinity Stone powered, right? So she got her powers from like the Tesseract, right? Or some type of Tesseract formula or something like that. So she's incredibly powerful. So imagine her just doing that and just ending Hersham right there, and then the threat's solved. So it's arguments like that. You can't have a Superman-esque character in the universe. Or, well, I mean, it works for DCU because that's like their thing. But like, once you add a Superman-esque character into the MCU, you effectively make all the other MCU characters useless. Like I said, that's why you have to add some type of hindrance, and that's what I think might happen with the Marvels coming out, which is going to be Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel kind of doing their own thing, and not fighting or whatever, but they're kind of solving their mysteries or whatever they're doing. I think that's a big point to kind of consider for those characters. I initially thought they were going to bring in Rogue, who is an X-Men, and she was going to depower Captain Marvel a little bit. So I could definitely see something along those lines happening. At some point, Captain Marvel, I think, in the new movie, in the Marvels, she is going to get depowered in some shape or form. I don't know how. I don't know by how much. But for right now, she is too powerful, right? Like, we know that she effectively beat Thanos by herself. Like, if she could have done it by herself, So even like the cringy girl power scene, you guys remember that from Endgame when she's like, she grabs the Infinity Gauntlet, and Spider-Man's like, "You're gonna go there by yourself?" And all the girls are like, "Don't worry, we got her back." And then they all start charging, and then Captain Marvel just flies by them anyways and doesn't even need their help. You know what I mean? That really cringy scene. Yeah, she's too powerful for right now. The only person who could have gone against her, I guess you could say, recently would have been Icarus, and now he's gone. He killed himself. So there's no one else who could effectively go against her. So we gotta depower a little bit. I just think that would help a narrative so much. She can still be really strong. She can still be the best Avenger. That's not really my argument here. It's just about once you have too powerful of a character like that, it ultimately makes the narrative a lot harder to make a threat against her, right? So adding a character like Rogue, who would effectively not take her powers altogether, but like instead of making her like, I wouldn't call her god tier, but she's up there. She's really powerful, right? So even just taking away like her what is that called, like when she gets all glowy and she can fly through anything, even just taking away that power, giving her still her other powers. She can still fly, she can still punch people really far, she can still fire photon blasts. But once she goes in that photon mode, once you turn that off, I think that would depower a little bit. I think that would actually work better for a narrative, actually probably make people kind of care more about her too, because right now I don't think, like, me personally, I like her, but I don't really I don't love Captain Marvel, and the fact that Captain Marvel is kind of being set up as someone I'm supposed to love and I don't. I really hope the Marvels can kind of fix that, and making her more mortal might actually help with that, in my opinion. But that's just my perspective. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments.